All right. All right, Metal Maniacs, it's the Meista from Brews and Tunes. Cheers. Very excited tonight. I am chatting with the one and only Mayhem, bassist of brand new metal band, or newer metal band, I should say, Burning Legion. Thank you, Mayhem, so much for chatting with me tonight. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, brother. No, thank you for having me. Yeah, no, and thank you for that great introduction, man. I got to take notes from you.
No, no.
Yeah,
Oh, and I should say, yeah, you've got your own podcast, Beyond the Heavy, which is killer. So yeah, and
appreciate that, brother.
everybody watching, there'll be a link. So you need to check out Beyond the Heavy if you've not done so, and subscribe. And a lot of cool interviews on Mayhem's show. So definitely check that out for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
but yeah, so first off, I just have to congratulate you on the release of a brand new single from Burning Legion, I Am Domination. Kick-ass song.
Thank you, man.
I'm really digging it, and you've got your background, of course, is the cover. Um,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, killer song. I love how there's to steal your own words, that you guys are kind of multi-genre, multi-metal genre. There's a lot happening there. I mean, you're definitely really heavy. I mean, I don't know if I hate playing the genre game, but I mean, death metal, thrash metal leanings, but there's a lot happening. There's, progressive stuff happening. There's a lot of cool signature changes and tempo changes, and just it's one of those tracks that just, for me, just kind of immediately grabbed me. It was like
Mm.
I'm in, like, from opening notes, like, I'm in. What is this? I need more of this in my
Oh yeah.
so.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean we're really proud of it. We're really, really proud of it. It was something that I kind of had in the woodwork for quite some time.
Mm.
And if some people might know, some people might not, but I had some solo stuff.
Yeah.
Just the single Mad Mayhem stuff. I released a solo album. That's why Burning Legion was formed, because I was like, hey, I did my thing. It was kind of I released a solo album called Unbroken, and I was really proud of it. But I was grooving with the guitar player Adrian Moya, who does most of the guitar work on I Am Domination.
Mm.
And we have our another guitarist, Eric Fernandez, he did more of the producing on that one.
Oh, okay.
But he's gonna have some more. We're gonna have another single coming out very, very soon. Just we're still in pre-production. We're almost gonna record it called Injustice. So want to give you an exclusive.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So he's gonna take more of the lead on that. Adrian's gonna take more of the producing role on that. But I'm Domination is a very near and dear to my heart, and I really, really appreciate the kind words, man. I'm really grateful for that, because it was a dark place for me. It was I wrote the lyrics, put the skeleton of the song together,
Mm.
but it was dark because I suffer a lot from anxiety, a lot of mental health stuff. I work in the mental health field
Oh,
outside of Bernie Legion, so I think you know what I think it's one of the heaviest subjects we could talk about, right, in metal,
yeah.
right? We could talk about demons and all this other shit,
Yeah.
for so long, right? But when we get in here, this is like the darkest place anybody could really go to. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
I'm Domination is again to empower everybody, right? To get good vibes, to dominate all the negative things in your life, right? To overcome stuff, typically, a good, feel good song, but just want to make it heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love, because I saw, and I don't know if it was on I don't know if it was an interview you did, or if it was just you talking about the song. Maybe it was just you talking about the song, maybe on your Instagram page. I can't remember, but yeah, I loved the fact that, yeah, it was like you were very open about that. I love that about you too. Is just, yeah, this song is about overcoming my own mental health issues. My anxiety, my demons, my depression. What I thought that was, and I think that's what really, along with the just that driving bass line from fucking hell. That is a monster. That is so good. But
Thank you, brother.
but I
Yeah.
mean, just I think that, and the lyrically just hooks in me right away. Like, yeah, like I'm all in. This is so I can't wait for the um full album. You guys are working on a full album release. And
Yes.
do you
Yeah.
have a kind of what's your target for the
W-
release of
We
that?
were shooting for early fall, but that looks like it's not gonna happen because fall's right around the corner. I think we're already in fall. I
Yeah,
could be
it's
mistaken.
almost there. Yeah.
It's almost there, you know. So we you know we're gonna push it back a little bit, maybe beginning of winter. You know, we not for anything. It's just we want to make sure everything is right. We want to make sure ducks are in a row. And we want to put out a good package. It's our first one, you know, so we want to make sure, hey, we get one more single to kind of, you know, savor some of the taste after after I Am Domination, right? And give
Yeah.
Eric Fernandez an opportunity to shine, right? And so we'll push it back a little bit, but we keep adding some more tracks. We're going to be doing a cover. Uh,
Oh, cool.
Me and Adrian, we were actually redoing one of my solo songs, Power Beyond Death. So that thing has just been a beast within itself, man. And I hate being one of those guys that like, oh, the next one's gonna be heavy. You know, every metal band says that, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, but this one is it's gonna be the last song on the album. It's gonna be crushing, but it's also really wanted to target everybody, right? Power Beyond Death is really a song that I wrote more like for us as metalheads. Doesn't matter if you're, you know, gent, thrash, death, black, modern. Doesn't we all come together? We all come to the barbecue, man. We're all gonna have the
yeah,
carne asada. It doesn't matter, you know. You know, it's for everybody. So uh we're really happy how that one's gonna come out. But to yeah, we're gonna have to push it back a little bit, but it's worth it.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's the thing with art is, yeah, you can't rush art. You gotta,
Yeah.
yeah, the timing is crucial, I think, in a lot of ways. And I mean, as much as I want it now,
Yeah.
as an American consumer that wants everything now, um, yeah, I can wait because yeah, I know it's going to be worth it. So,
I
uh,
appreciate you.
yeah, I'm really excited for the release of the full album. But as you said, you've got another single on its way, you know, coming soon. So that's exciting news. Um, no, I definitely wanted to ask you about, so you're the bassist and you write, you know, it's you know, you're the mastermind behind this band. And then you've got Adrian and Eric on guitars. So drumming wise and vocal wise, kind of how does that get covered?
Very interesting question. Um, so we have the best drummer in the world, easy drummer.
Okay.
We make a joke in the band. We're like, oh well, he's always on time. He makes no mistakes. He's cheap. Oh man, best drummer in the world. You know. They are program drums, right? I'm a
Okay.
little. At times, I do feel a little self-conscious about that, but I mean, in the day and age where you know technology is kind of taking over, I have to write, I have to express my music, I have to get it out. It is what it is for right now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
to say if Bernie Legion is looking for a drummer, absolutely, we would love to work with drummers. Anybody's welcome. As I said, you know, everybody's welcome to the barbecue, so it's Bernie Legion, right?
Yeah.
So you know, any drummers that are out there, specifically Gene Hogan, if he's free out of the thousand
Yeah.
bands that he's in,
Yeah.
cool. But if not, we completely understand. We don't have our budget is what, $5 and have a sandwich. He's cool with that. Awesome, man. But you know, for vocals, we used two individuals. We have a gentleman in Finland who's in his band, and I can't pronounce his name. I did put his isolated vocal tracks on Burning Legion, so I
Okay.
can't pronounce it. I don't want to butcher it. I can't do it. Sorry, I don't want to disrespect the man, but he does.
No.
He's in Finland. We've hired him through Fiverr, and we connected, right? So I was like, hey, the person who originally was going to do I Am Domination had some vocal issues. He had to recover. His name is Harry, really good friend of mine. He did all the vocal stuff for my solo stuff on the Unbroken album, so that's
Oh,
him.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's
he's
gonna be
great.
on the album too. Yeah, he's phenomenal. Oh man, don't we could talk an hour about that guy. But but he told me, hey, I can't do Arm Domination. When you get the other stuff in pre-production, let me see what's up. And I said, hey, that's cool. You know, as a band, we were like, hey, we got to get on Domination now. So he kind of stepped up to the plate. We might hire him for. We actually have him on another track. It's more of like a Black Sabbath doom metal type of song.
Oh,
Came
cool.
out phenomenal. Can't wait for that one. That one's gonna. I can't release it. That has to be on the album. That's a good one. But for the most part, we hired guns, man. Just to answer your question, plain and simple, hiring guns. But I don't think there's a problem with that, man. I think it's, you
No,
know, it's a collaborative effort. You know, I mean, I think it's very unique. It kind of gives a different connotation to the band Burning Legion, as we are a legion of you know, metal musicians coming together and creating art. You know, so those are the two that are that are going to be on the album.
yeah, I love yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it's I think in this day and age, yeah, we don't have to follow the same formulas anymore. Like, you know, what a band is. Like, you don't have to define that necessarily. And I think, you know, these collaborative efforts, like there's a lot of cool stuff out there that's come out of, you know, some of these projects. You know, you look at like oh my God, my brain is not working today. What
I
was
tell you, man, you need that Red Bull.
I know I do. It's been a long week.
Oh man.
The shit, what is it called? There was a project that it was Dave Elfson, uh Portnoy was involved with it, and so there's a band of musicians, and then they just every track is a different singer.
Oh,
And
Metal Legions.
Metal Legions, yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yep, thank you,
yeah.
yeah. So
You're
it's
welcome.
kind of like that, like where, yeah, I think, and yeah, that's amazing. I think both of
Yeah.
those albums are incredible.
Yes. Yes.
And
They were
so
good.
much
They were
cool
great.
stuff, and I you know, cool vibes, and just, yeah, really, I mean, you know, like, yeah, Chuck Billy, and yeah, they have so many great musicians on there. um but yeah, I like that idea of just like, yeah, this kind of collaborative effort where it doesn't have to be defined exactly as this is the band necessarily. But I mean, even though there's the core with Mayhem and Adrian and Eric, you know, as the music, and then and Easy, of course,
Yeah.
which that actually that surprises me. So did you do the programming for the drums?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because the songwriting process really goes from me. It goes, you know, bass, drums. You know, those are, I like to really set a foundation. I'm a big advocate on those two need to lock in, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty much the drummer. You see what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
with programming them, you know, I'm behind the computer. I'm like detail oriented, like punching it in and everything. But in addition to that, I wanted to sound good so I could set a good foundation for the guys. You know what I mean? To make heavy stuff, right? Like, hey,
Yeah.
if I have a riff on bass, let me see what I could do with it. But it's funny because Adrian, he'll joke around. He's like, dude, you should have been a guitar player. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I play bass, dude, so sorry. You know, but you know, I love my instrument, you know, and everything. But it's just, I think the heaviness and it, and well, maybe now in this day and age, it's up into interpretation. But the bass and the drum have to be heavy. They have to be locked in, right?
Yeah.
All the best bands lock in, man. And then the guitars will, you know, that's the nice garnish on top. That's the way I see it. But um, there has to be a good foundation. And so with Burning Legion and then my solo stuff as well, I wanted to sound real, right? I'm like, hey, look, I don't have a budget, but hey, this
Yeah.
drummer, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I'm actually that surprised me when you said that. Like, I had no idea. I assumed that, you know, and I am, you know, on Domination, that was a drummer. I had
Oh wow, thank
no
you,
clue.
thank you,
No clue. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So kudos to you, because yeah, that's a testament to your skill.
I
Uh
appreciate that. Thank you, man.
yeah,
Thank you.
very cool. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. And again, yeah, such a great song.
Yeah.
Um so tell me about take me back a little bit.
Sure.
I'm really curious about your start in music. Like, did you come from a musical family? Like, what was the impetus for you to, like, did you start with bass? Did you start, like, when did you start playing music?
I started playing music. Shit, I don't even remember now, man. Being 35, man. Oh God, I feel like I'm 55. No, I mean, I've been around music my whole life. I started playing drums at first, but not
Hmm.
like a real drummer. You know, I would go to guitar. I would be like, you know, that teenager, like, hey, I'm gonna go to ditch school, go to Guitar Center, and just pretend that, you know, I'm Paul from Cannibal Corpse, and just, you know, this
Yeah.
is the best I can. You know what I mean? And I never bought an actual drum kit, but you know, bass was more affordable. You know, coming from a single parent family, you know, I had the bass and but my father's side, I actually come a lineage from a special Spanish guitar players, Spanish
Oh,
classical guitar players.
oh, cool.
Yeah, Yeah, they used to make them, and they used to play them in El Salvador, where my family's from.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and so but I was like, I never, how to say, I never like, I got the groove with guitar because I have like really fat fingers. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just play bass, And then I saw Cliff Burton, and that it just went from there. You see
Yeah.
Cliff, every metal bass player is like, okay, Cliff Burton, Steve
Yeah.
Harris, Geezer Butler, those guys that are, the testament, the real alpha and omega when it comes to metal bass. So
Yeah.
I just went after that, and it's funny because like I like to tell the story of like how I actually came into heavy metal. Like my dad was really into metal, like classic, Journey, that stuff, Black Sabbath, Europe, all the classic shit, and
Yeah.
um when my mom was pregnant with me, he would put like music on my mom's stomach. So he put
All right, man.
Queen, Sabbath, So I was listening to Sabbath before um I was actually born.
That's cool. I
Which was
love that.
cool, which was really awesome. But I was really blessed, man, and I'm glad you asked that question because it always makes me feel good to talk about it. That I come from a family that was very musical. Was My sisters were into Motown,
Oh, cool.
80s kind of Prince stuff.
Nice.
Of course, my mom was more into like salsa, kumba music. Which gave me appreciation for my heritage.
Yeah.
So um, I just there to me there's nothing off limits, man. Like there's nothing off limits, and
Cool.
that's where I started, brother.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's a good, very healthy philosophy, I think, because yeah, nothing is off limits. I think that's I'm gonna quote you on that. I think that's beautiful, man. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I
Because I
appreciate that,
think
man. Yeah,
I'm a metalhead, but yeah, I listen to lots of different stuff, and I think it's important to listen to a lot of different things and have lots of different influence because it's funny when you um I don't like to pigeonhole people, but there's the true metalheads, that people that I'm a true metal, yeah, like I'm true metalhead.
yeah.
Um, and then you talk to the people that they love, their heroes who don't listen to just black metal or whatever it
Hmm.
is, like, and didn't because they invented it. They're older. They listen to Dio. They listen to Jimi Hendrix or
Yeah,
whatever. It's yeah. So yeah,
yeah.
and I yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, no, it's okay. It's okay. No, no, I didn't want to interrupt, but no, that's to me is like a philosophy I've always had as a musician. Is it doesn't matter if you play metal, country, like you have to at least respect the other musician, right? You
Yeah.
have to at least. I mean, like for me, I don't. I mean, a lot of people like Bad Bunny. I don't like Bad Bunny, but that's not to say that's not art. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not grooving with it. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
no disrespect to the man or anything like that. He's out there doing it. That's his passion. Cool, more power to him, right? But as a musician, you have to at least respect it. At least respect it. You don't have to buy the CD, but respect it. But with when it came to where I am with music, I saw all my heroes. They're like, oh, like kind of like what you were saying. You know, you don't have to listen to just metal, right? Like
Yeah.
there's Elton John, one of the greatest composers of all time, right? Prince,
Yeah.
just phenomenal people that aren't metal, but it's like, damn, like, Elton John has influenced, Zach Wild, one of the greatest guitar players in our genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's just it's all love, man. All music is heavy, realistically. All music is heavy. So that's a
Yeah.
philosophy. I know I got to put that on a shirt, dude. So trust me.
Yeah. You should. Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah, yeah.
trademark that. You should
There
trademark
we go. There we go.
it. Yeah.
Uh,
Nice. I love that. Well, you said your dad, obviously was an influence in terms of like the metal. Like, did you was there a point? So I'm assuming you listened to some as a kid, but was there a point where you're like it clicked, where it's just like, oh yeah, this is where I'm going. This is what's happening.
oh yeah, Sabbath, man. Like there's so many episodes of Beyond the Heavy where they're like, dude, man, shut the fuck up about Sabbath. Like I just can't get over it. It's the greatest band of all time, man. It's some people might not groove with it. Some might say, it's you could only listen to Iron Man and Paranoid so many times. It doesn't matter, dude. Like
Yeah.
Sabbath taught me everything I need to know about music, right? Structure, writing, philosophy, even the subject matter, right?
Yeah.
Everything about Sabbath is important. It's already been done by them. From 1970, 1978, that was metal. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we do everything because of that, So that's when it clicked for me. when I heard the song Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath on the album Black Sabbath, that's when I knew. And I went, and not even hearing Tony and the band coming in, it was when I heard the raindrops, in the
Mm,
very first song. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like,
yeah, and the
I didn't know
thunder,
what I was.
bells, and yeah.
Exactly, exactly. I was like, what is this, man? Like, to create an image with just the frequencies and the sounds and the instruments. I was like, oh, dude, I could do this too. Oh, hell yeah. I was like, oh, this is beautiful, Yeah, that's what it clicked for me, man.
Nice. Oh,
Uh,
that's great. That's a great story. I love that.
yeah,
That's
man.
cool. Yeah, that was because I'm old. So
I'm right there with you, brother.
so yeah, like I grew up, I remember for me it was MTV in the early days of MTV, like the
When they
original.
played music,
Yeah,
when
like
they play,
way,
yeah.
way back. But I remember for me, it was like in terms of metal, um, like it was really like Quiet Riot and Def Leppard was what
Oh, nice.
first, like, but then, yeah, when I discovered Black Sabbath, and I remember it was a friend of mine, I think I was in high school, um, because I listened to Led Zeppelin and I was big into Jimi Hendrix and a lot of, like kind of psychedelic, but heavier, like, Steppenwolf and, uh,
Mm,
like I liked heavy rock.
yeah.
And then this guy like handed me a Black Sabbath tape, I remember, and said, "You need to listen to this." I'm like, oh,
Mm,
okay, cool. And I listened to AC/DC and but yeah, like yeah, same thing. Like it's soon those raindrops and the thunder and the bells, and it was like, whoa, like just
yeah.
the ambiance and yeah, just kind of changed everything, the way I listened to everything. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Those
continues to
those
do so.
yes. Yeah, man.
You
Yeah.
know,
Those guys,
30,
40, 30, 40, 50 years later, man.
yeah,
Almost
yeah,
60 years
still.
now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, still, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
And
Who
another
were oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, I think were you gonna ask me who were other influences? Is that what you're
I
gonna ask me?
was exactly.
Ah, okay. I do this too, man.
Yeah, yeah, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're
We're
like
grooving. We're grooving. We're
simpatico,
grooving.
like yeah, reading each
Yeah.
other, like yeah, yeah.
There you go. There you go. Well, I mean, a lot, man, a lot. But as it pertains to, well, I mean, do you mean like bass or do you mean like just music in general? Like,
But I know, super loaded question, I'm sure. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely bass, but also writing and
ba bass. I just like I said, it's got to be Cliff, man. It's got to be
Mhm.
Cliff. It has to be Cliff. Like I mean, top three, like I said, Cliff, Steve Harris, Geezer Butler, like those three. Like, and I think it kind of shows in my tone, and
Yeah,
and my playing. Hopefully, I mean, there's no way I'm even close to those guys, but if you could hear a little bit of Steve Harris or those guys in my playing, hey, I'm happy. I could die happy. I'm like, all right, cool, all right, I'm there. But with bass, it would be those guys. But songwriting again, Sabbath. But a lot of people don't know this about me. I'm a big Nine Inch Nails fan, a
oh,
very,
interesting.
very big, yeah, Trent Reznor guy. And again, he's using sound effects, ambiance, to tell a story. And I love that about him. And and Burning Legion, yeah, there's some sound clips. I think I use I'm Domination. I didn't want to do that in that one, because I wanted to be straightforward, get to the point, for a single. But for the other stuff, there's going to be some sound clips, some ambiance stuff, some pianos and stuff. So, but he's probably one of my biggest influences as well. I listen to a lot of classical stuff. One of our songs is like I'm not afraid to say it, like I kind of rip rip off Beethoven. So sorry, dude. You know, we all do. So sorry, man.
Yeah,
Minor
yeah, yeah.
keys, but it's pretty much those guys, man.
Nice. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that's one thing and granted, as far, I mean, I've heard your solo work, but as far as Burning Legion, I've only heard the one track, but
Yeah.
there's a lot going on, and you can tell there's a lot of influence. I mean, because it's heavy, it rocks, but there's some progressive vibes, and I think, yeah, like you said, the it's interesting because I did it now. Now it makes more sense to me when you said Nine Inch Nails. Kind of, I mean, even though that song's super heavy, but yeah, there's all these different things happening with your music, which I really like, and I think that's
Oh,
really
thank you,
cool.
man. Thank you. Thank you. I'm very surprised that you said progressive. If you don't mind me kind of, if I could turn the tables real quick.
Sure, yeah. And I'm not a musician, but
That actually, that actually works out in your favor, because
okay.
now there's more of a different perspective that I could ask. Why do you say progressive? I'm just curious. I'm not, because I always kind of have a running joke where I'm like, I only write in 4/4. You know, I do it, and I'm like, I'm not, I don't do switching of the keys and stuff. I'm just
Yeah,
curious. I'm just
I
curious.
don't even know how to explain it, but there's
Okay.
some sort of vibe to it that just feels that maybe it's just there's sort of the 70s vibe to it a little bit.
Oh wow, I appreciate, that's a compliment to me, man. I love it. I'm
So
cool with that.
maybe that's because it, you know how there's just certain things like, and you can't, it's hard to put a finger on it. You're not exactly sure why it reminds you of something. Like that's some like, yeah, I mean, there's definitely there's this very heavy element to I Am Domination, but then there's something in there that, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's more the lyrics, but there's something in there that like made me think of Rush. And
Interesting.
I
Oh
don't
wow.
I don't know why, but it just clicked. That just,
Okay.
and maybe it like,
Okay.
and maybe it's the lyrical content. Maybe it's more
Mm,
the, you know, kind of dealing with emotions and, you know, that this kind of emotive thing that's happening there. I don't know. I'm also an
yeah.
English major, so I'm completely full of shit. Ask my wife. So,
No, man. Hey, English. No, man. No, 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 no. No,
yeah. So,
don't. Come on, brother. You do good too, man. That's
um,
English is a part of art too, man. So
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
you know.
But
Uh,
seriously, I think
yeah.
yeah, because I know you're probably like, what the hell is he talking about? Progressive.
No,
But there
not that.
that
What the hell? But I was like, really? Because I was like, I wasn't going for that. You know. I was like, okay, but that's cool.
but
That's cool. I
it's
mean,
subtle. It's more subtle. It's a subtle thing.
ah,
I think, yeah,
gotcha.
and maybe it's more the lyrical content, but
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know. And it was kind of a, yeah, kind of more maybe a subconscious thing. There was just something about it. I think it's that it kind of put me in that sort of that state of listening to more progressive music where it just, it's
Ah,
because it's very thoughtful. Which
okay,
I could say the
okay.
same thing about, you know, Metallica and Megadeth too, even though it's, you know, like old school Metallica and Megadeth, it's, you know, thrash metal, but I think that was one thing that always drew me to those bands was that they had really thoughtful lyrics, you know, especially at that time. I was in high school and that stuff came out, and, you know, that was the hair metal era.
Yeah.
So, you know, you had, you know, pardon the expression, but I mean, you had, you know, dudes singing about their dicks, and then
Yeah.
you had
Yeah.
this really thoughtful, you know, Metallica and Megadeth, you know, these thoughtful lyrics about nuclear war and, you know, the state of America and state of society, and, you
Of
know,
course.
and
Yeah.
which is a very progressive, you know, in terms of like lyrically, that's a very progressive, you know, like it kind of harkens back to like Yes and Rush and Genesis, like early Genesis and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that's why I went there with that, kind of maybe subconsciously at first.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but
Well,
it just
I
sort
mean,
of clicked.
yeah, no, and wow, I mean, I take that as a great compliment. I appreciate that, and I'm glad that it gave you that kind of vibe, because I mean, I love those bands too, Rush and I mean, I make the jokes with Metallica, but Megadeth, again, another big influence. Dave Mustaine's, he's the GOAT, he's the greatest of all time in thrash. We know that.
Yeah.
He invented thrash. Let's just be honest, but and I appreciate that. I was just because I was like, because when I hear progressive, when someone says progressive, I'm like, oh man, odd timing. Oh man, switching keys. Oh crap. Like because there's monster players, right? There's
Yeah.
monster. These progressive cats are just zooming. I'm like, Mayhem's not about that, man. Like I'm not about that, dude. I'm more like, hey, just riff 4/4. Let's get on the floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's great, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. 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 Well, and I would say, I mean, I would argue, I mean, again, it's the genre game.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I would argue like Nine Inch Nails is, you know, if you didn't put them in they're an industrial band, they're an industrial metal band. That's progressive music, especially at that time when that
Oh
came
yeah.
out. That was progressive. That was something different. And I guess
Oh
that's
yeah.
part of it too, is I think you're doing something different, even though you're, you know, you're nodding to your influences. There's, you know, it's definitely heavy. It's, you know, it's got this, you know, Sabbath-esque vibe, but also this thrash metal vibe to it. I think you're also, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but
No, no,
I
no.
feel like, yeah, there's like you're doing something. It doesn't sound like everything else.
Oh,
You're
thank you.
doing something
Wow.
different. You're doing
I
something
appreciate that.
I
No,
like.
that's one of the best compliments we've gotten as, and I want to say, for us, I want to say as a band, because that's what we wanted to do, right? And that's part of growth as a musician. Because when I was one of the bands I was that we were called Serpent Within, and that's on my solo stuff as well. I revisited that, remastered it for them, or well, I should say for us. But we wanted to be Pantera, right? We were like, Pantera's everything, we were kids, and when you grow up, you're like, that's cool to want to be, your favorite bands, but they've already done that, right?
Yeah,
Like I would, as much as I love Cliff Burton, I'm never going to be Cliff Burton. It doesn't matter. I could be influenced by him, but I'd rather be the first Mayhem than the second Cliff Burton. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
And to you, for you to say that about us is very, it feels good, man. It warms my heart, and it motivates me even more to get back in my little corner and start, punching in some drums.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, do it,
Yeah,
do it. Yeah,
yeah,
I want, for the Meister, I need more music. Bring it on.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
got you, man. I got you.
need more Burning Legion for sure. Yeah, there's some really cool stuff you guys are doing. So I'm excited for more.
Yeah.
So tell me about and you mentioned this a little bit, but so with Adrian and Eric, yeah, how did you meet those guys? How did they get involved? I know you said, like, were they both involved with your solo work?
They both were. They
Okay.
both were. Yeah, yeah, they both were. And that's the beauty of it. It's like I kind of had to, what do I want to say? I had to take charge with my solo stuff, right? I I just left it to them. Again, kind of like how Virgin Legion is kind of running right now.
Hmm.
But I was like, hey man, like you guys are phenomenal players, man. Let's just do something, all of us. And they were like, yeah, screw it, let's do it. I was like, okay,
Nice.
cool. I met both of them through social media, through
Oh,
Instagram,
really? Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I just took a leap of faith. I pulled the Jeff Hardy and I was like, screw it, I'm gonna just jump off and ask him. And just, Adrian was like, yeah, yeah, man, let's do this. And then same thing with Eric. Eric is he's been in more tracks with I've worked with him more on tracks. Well, I actually say they should be about the same now, but they work. Both of them work very differently.
Hmm.
Both of them are very different. But I think once you guys hear Burning Legion, you guys are like, oh, that's an Eric song. Oh, that's an Adrian song, right?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I wanted to do that purposely because I think that gives so much variety into an album, right? It's not because we could listen to, and this is not any shade on them whatsoever. I love them so much, like Cannibal Corpse or AC/DC. You know what I mean? It's like it's consistent. Nothing wrong with consistency. There's beauty
Yeah.
in consistency. But with me, I was like, in this day and age, I think it's okay to have some variety, right?
Yeah.
And Adrian is just I call him the riff beast. That's the nickname I give him, the riff beast. And he's, as you could hear, the I'm domination, the heavy part of it, that's 75% him. That's all him,
Oh,
man. Those are his riffs. Those are him slamming it. Same thing with Eric. He has a very more melodic, right, progressive sound that he's very into the instrument. He knows how to make it sound sexy and heavy too. I'm like, ah, damn, all right, cool. So I'm like, dude, if I get these two together, oh, dude, we could make Burning
yeah.
Legion sound phenomenal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, um, hopefully I answered your question.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know
Definitely.
I did. Okay, all right, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
are they local to you? Said you met them on social media. Are they in your area? Are they in
And
California?
that not really. Well,
Oh, okay.
Adrian is like a good 30 minutes away from me. And Eric lives in Connecticut, so he's far away from me.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Because
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
was that was my follow-up was like,
yeah.
yeah, is there any intention or plan for live performance?
And
Burning
and that,
Legion?
that's a question, and that's kind of the thing that kind of hinders Burning Legion is that we're not a full band, right? And we would love to play shows. The thing is that Eric's got a family, I got a family, so we gotta make it make sense. If
Yeah.
that makes any sense, yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it not to say like, hey, we're about the money, but we do have jobs. We do have to support other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we were to have a show, which we're more than open to doing, we just got to hire, a drummer, hire a singer, cool, we'll be good to go, you know. But if anybody, any promoters, anybody that would want to work with us on that, we can make it happen, right? We're not opposed to it.
Yeah, maybe a festival or something like.
Yeah, like a one-off. Yeah, we'll be more than happy to do it. You know, just to be invited to the party, which are that's success within itself.
Yeah, nice, nice.
Yeah.
So, let's change gears. Let's
Sure.
talk about Beyond the Heavy. Let's talk about your podcast
Mhm.
a little bit. When did you
Yeah.
start doing that? And yeah, kind of, you know, like yeah, tell me about the, I mean, I know what it is, but yeah, like what kind of what do you do? What's the premise?
So Beyond the Heavy is pretty much like this. You know, it's just me talking to other musicians. Uh, you know, just kind of again the story, man. And I started it, man, I think I want to say 2020,
Hmm.
the beginning of 2020 or the late of 2020. So almost a year, a 1 year anniversary of Beyond the Heavy. 2 seasons. I like to break it up in seasons to give myself some space to, because I do the editing, I do the promoting, I do all the stuff, you know. So it's a lot. So
Yeah.
Ben, slow down, brother. You know, but it's for me, it's just having a conversation, man, to be honest with you. I love meeting not just musicians, but you know, people that love our music so much. And I
Yeah.
think there's such a good story with everybody. I look at everybody as like their own world, their own universe, you know, and you could see it with each member or each guest, you know, like you know, you see that one guy that's like, dude, I'm all about my music, and then there's a guy like, I love my music, but they're just kind of like playing it cool, you know what I mean? But I love hearing the stories. How did that album come about, or what
Yeah.
happened with you guys, you know? And I just like having those conversations, and I think people need to hear those conversations, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you know, we could hear the heavy, right? That's without a doubt. We got Spotify, we got the resources to hear the music, but who's playing the music? That's why I called it Beyond the Heavy, right? Because I want to know the person that's behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's kind of my you know, that was always my focus too, is like, yeah, what's the story behind all of this? Like where, you know, because there's so many amazing musicians, and there's, you know, and some of them, like, I feel like, you know, and I interview a lot of bands that are older, you know, musicians that have, you know, stuff I grew up listening to, and
Mm.
you know, stuff from the 70s and 80s, and newer stuff too, obviously. But yeah, I'm kind of fascinated by these stories, and I think and I think it's important to catalog that, to capture that, because I think some of it's lost. You know, I think we've lost
Yeah.
some of that, and especially because you know, with some of these bands, you know, they're not the new cool thing, and you know, especially if they're more underground, or you know, it's an older band from, you know, the new wave of British heavy metal, and you know, they used to play stadiums and now they play bars, and I think some of those stories have been lost, and there's some really amazing stories and really amazing music, that, you know, and that's, I just like to share that. I like to share, you know, those songs and those bands with people that may not have heard it before. So hopefully somebody will, and that, you know, even if it's like one person watches an interview and like, I'm gonna go check out that band, then I did my job. That's
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
person. That
Yeah.
makes me happy. If one person checks out, I mean, more than one person should definitely check out Burning Legion.
Oh,
All of you should
thanks.
check out Burning Legion.
I appreciate
But
you,
if
brother.
just one person gets on iTunes or Spotify and purchases Iron Domination, that would make my day,
That
because
it would make mine as well, brother. Yeah, yeah.
good.
You know, and I love what you do. I love what I do, you know, and I think it's important because, you know, not only just knowing who's the person behind the music, but also, you know, what are they going through, right? You know, I like to be vulnerable with people. I'm not here. I'm not going to be that artist like, oh, you know, Mayhem, he's just this tough ass and with the beard and plays bass. You know, like, no, dude, I'm a human being. Like, I go through my shit. You know, I have my problems. I have my issues, and and I think that's a very special thing with artists like that, that you could feel the vulnerability, right? I see that more as a strength and a weakness because that's more relatable, right? You know,
Yeah.
that you know, you could see, hey, well, Matt, he still works, his job, and he's still trying to support his family. Like, damn, and he's still playing heavy stuff. Like, damn, I could do that too. Well, yeah, don't set that limitation on yourself. You know what I mean? Like, if you've got something to say something. If you want to write something, do it, brother.
Yeah.
And more power to you. But as it relates to our podcast, I think it's important to just get the word out, man. Have those conversations, right? Hear those stories, and I think the way I love how you said it. That you're like, hey, man, like, they went from playing arenas to bars. Yeah, but what happened in that time, man?
Yeah.
Right? What did you learn from that? What advice do you have for the young cats that are coming up? Right? How can you be receptive with that? And that, to me, that always speaks volumes.
Yeah. Great point. That's a great point. Um, yeah, and I mean, as you well know, the music industry is such a weird game, such a weird beast, and it just keeps changing constantly.
Yeah, you got to
Especially
adapt to
now. And
survive.
yeah, and
Yeah.
in this day and age with the technology, I'm, I mean, I love there's so much music out there. It's so great. There's so much variety. There's so many things happening, but it's also sometimes overwhelming.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
because I just want to eat it
All
all
of it.
up. Yeah, like, I want to hear it all. I want
Yeah,
to,
it's like that. It's like a hometown buffet of metal. It's just like
yeah, yeah. There's
endless
so much
buffet.
happening. Yeah, there's so much happening. Yeah, yeah. I'm always trying to drag my wife to shows, and she's like, "Oh my god, like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't,
yeah,
I can't go
yeah,
tonight. I'm done." Um,
yeah.
but yeah, that's cool. I did want to. Sorry, I'm like jumping all over the place here,
All
but
good, brother. All
um,
good. I'll keep up. Don't worry.
I'm just looking at your background with the artwork. So I
Sure.
have to ask you about the artwork, that because it's beautiful. It's amazing,
Oh, thank you,
incredible
man.
artwork.
Thank you.
Yeah. And now that's the single, right? Or is that the album cover for the new album?
No, no, no. This is the single. This is
Yeah,
the
that's what I
single. Yeah,
thought.
yeah,
That's what. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This is single. Yeah, yeah. It's just and it's funny because it's AI. Again, technology coming in again. Uh-oh. But I mean, I felt this really spoke to me. Actually, it's kind of funny because the flames were originally, red, like red and
Oh,
orange.
okay.
Actual real flame. But I changed it to purple because I wanted to again be different. But the theme of the band, I'm very big into colors. I'm very big into artwork. I love artwork. Again, picking up Iron Maiden, picking up Megadeth. You're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
So I wanted to, again, homage to those guys. But, the artwork was, I just purchased it. I saw this guy who's doing, he's generates AI metal album covers. Like, hey man, I'll pick that one up. Who cares? And looking at listening to I'm Domination, listen, and then looking at that, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. We want to use this character. We haven't named them or anything, but we're using the character to portray, go kind of like my own story, spiritually and stuff, and not to be all controversial or religious or anything, but in my spiritual life, I believe in like energy and stuff like that, and that the purple color represents, the crown chakra. So,
Okay.
and that's one of the things I talk about in Burning Legion is is how do I say this? How do I say this without saying controversial?
No.
Is the deconstruction of the trauma that I've had
Hmm.
as a child. Okay, best way I could put it without sounding to bash on anybody. As it comes to spiritual stuff, I know, there's Christian metal, right? We got black metal. We all know about black metal, you know. But I'm not opposed to that. If that's what you want to believe, that's cool. That's your thing. I'm not. It's your human right to believe in whatever you want to believe. Me, I just like I've suffered trauma from that, right? I've suffered from that, and I want to kind of use Burning Legion as a way of to push philosophy, push open-mindedness, push thinking for yourself. That's why I use I'm Domination, because people could be traumatized from something and don't want to talk about it. Well, but
Sure.
if you don't want to talk about it, that's cool. But you got to learn how to dominate that, right, in your mind. So that's why with this artwork, I want people to kind of envision themselves like, hey, in the background right here, where you see the castle, where you got to go and dominate it. So a lot of hidden stuff in them, to as it pertains to the song and the band.
Nice. Cool. Cool.
You know.
Do you have a have you figure out like album cover for like the actual album? Do you kind of have an idea of what you want to do? I don't know if you.
Oh yeah, we have it already. We have it already. I'm
Oh,
super
okay, cool.
super. I love it. I'm just like I'm going crazy over it. You know, the guys we saw it, we're like, oh, that's the one. You know what I mean? We're those guys. You know, and I'm a big comic book guy too. So any
Oh,
artwork, I'm
cool.
like, you know, I have to. You know, yeah, I love X-Men and it's funny because the album title is in Sabah Nur, and that translates as the first one, and that was in X-Men
Oh,
uh
cool.
to talk about the villain Apocalypse. You know,
Yeah.
so I used that. I was like, hey, because I'm a big nerd when it comes to that. We could do another hour on that, trust me. And I asked the guys, I was like, hey, do you want to use that as the album title? And they're like, yeah. Because they know I'm a big nerd, so they're just like, whatever, dude, just keep doing
Yes.
your shit. Like, we'll just do the riffs and you just do all the nerdy shit and all that stuff. All right, cool, awesome.
Nice.
You know,
Nice.
yeah.
Cool. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about the album title, and yeah, it sound I knew what that was. Like when I read this album title, I'm like, I know this. What do I know this from?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, because I'm a comic book nerd too. So
Oh, okay, cool, man.
yeah, I've got
Cool.
a in fact, I have a Ghost Rider tattoo on my calf. That's
Oh, damn,
yeah,
nice.
it's
Oh, nice.
it's
So I gotta ask you top. I'm sorry, I know I like it's up beyond the heavy or something, but I
yeah.
gotta ask you top three, man. Top three. I'm a comic book nerd. I like asking that. What's your top three
Oh,
comic?
oh shit. That's tough. Because it changes and it's changed over the
Ah,
years.
okay,
So I was a massive X-Men fan. I,
okay.
I still am. I was that was like high school. I was all about the X because I was, I was an outcast. I was a nerd.
Mm,
I was a heavy metal nerd. So like that really spoke to me. That was Chris Claremont era.
yeah.
Um, so that was big for me. So I guess it's kind of era driven in some ways. So like when I was a little kid in the 70s, I
Mm.
loved the Ghost Rider and Doctor Strange and Silver Surfer, just anything kind of mystical I thought was cool and interesting.
Oh, nice. The
So the
spacey stuff.
tattoo, yeah, so the Ghost Rider tattoo I have on my calf, it was the first comic book I remember buying. It might
Mm,
not be the first one I ever bought, but it's the first one I remember buying. It's from 1978.
mm.
So I would have been 7 years old, and it's Ghost Rider number 31.
Oh,
So
okay.
and I still own it, and so
Nice,
I
man.
got part of the cover on my tattooed on me, and it's fairly large. Um, and it just yeah, because I just still love it. I know Ghost Rider is kind of goofy. It's kind of a like when I read it
Yeah.
now, I'm like, oh my god, this is so goofy, but I still love it. I just love the concept of this flaming skeleton on a motorcycle, just because
It,
that just seemed so metal.
it's so cool. That's like
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
a badass dude.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but
All
yeah,
good,
so
man.
he was a big one for me.
Yeah.
I was always a Marvel guy, but then I got into DC later.
Mm.
So I love Batman. Sorry, you asked me top three, and I'm just like going off on
Going off, yeah. Yeah. We
yeah, I
we
don't
went
even
beyond the
know.
Marvel now.
Yeah, like I don't even know. There's just so much Sandman. Adore
Oh, okay.
Sandman, Swamp Thing, Alan Moore
Okay.
when Alan Moore wrote Swamp Thing, and The Watchmen. I think those are
Oh, that's phenomenal stuff. Phenomenal
yeah,
stuff, man.
yeah.
Just
V
just
for
good
Vendetta.
writing. Uh
Yeah,
another one. Another one. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
So it's the
sorry, I
graphic
just
novel stuff.
yeah. What are your favorites?
Mine, oh man, Magneto, Doctor Doom, and Iron Man slash War Machine. I got to put them in the same category because it's the same
Okay.
dude technically if you think about it. But
Yeah, yeah,
but Magneto, Doctor Doom for me. I like the villains more. I like the villains more because they have more a better story, and it's just more
yeah.
justification of them, and like Magneto, like come on, I mean, him and Doctor Doom are like the two most metal, well, other than Ghost Rider, obviously, but most metal guys,
Yeah,
the guy controls metal. The guy has a suit out of metal. This badass, It's funny because the first issue of X-Men where Magneto comes out, right when he's when he's sticking his hand out and you see the ball of the magnetic energy or
like
so.
yeah.
On my first album cover or the solo stuff, the solo Matt Mayhem stuff, the Unbroken, I actually tried portraying that with the character that I had, the woman, the Aztec woman that's in the front. But
Uh,
the artist, he didn't really capitalize on how I wanted, but it's okay because I love that artist. He's a great guy. I love him so much, but he didn't capitalize on it. But I was like, he did such a good job. I was like, let's just leave it. But
yeah.
that's essentially what I wanted was
Oh,
that
okay. No,
homage to that comic book.
nice,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, yeah, Magneto. Yeah, I've always loved him. Great character,
Oh,
amazing.
dude.
Yeah, great
Yeah, yeah.
backstory. Like yeah, because you can't yeah, he's evil, but yeah, you can't hate him. Like,
But is he like you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
he's got
like,
like is he like same with Doctor Doom? Like is he
yeah,
really bro? Like is he just wants to protect his country? So
yeah. They're driven by ambition, but they're also driven by love, and they're like, love for their family, love for their people, love for their, whatever it may be. But like, yeah,
yeah,
they're very complex. Yeah, it's
yeah,
cool. Yeah, I
yeah,
think like it's always
yeah.
interesting, like trying to explain why you love comic books to people that don't read comic books, and like,
Ah,
oh,
yeah, they'll
it's
never.
just like silliness, right? I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, it's guys in tights, but there's a lot of depth there and a lot of
Yeah,
social commentary that I think, like, if you really, and sometimes it's pretty blatant, I think. So,
yeah. No, and it parallels with metal. It really does. It really does. I mean, comic books and metal go hand in hand, dude. I don't care
oh
what
yeah,
anyone says.
oh
It's
yeah,
like, dude, it's like peanut butter and jelly. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, Vic Rattlehead, Eddie from Iron Man. It's like that's comic
oh
book
yeah,
stuff. You know
yeah.
what I
I'm a total sucker for the yeah, um yeah, those characters, those
mean?
yeah, whatever, what do you, my brain is not working. It's yeah,
Yeah.
the mascot.
Yeah, the mascot.
There's the
Oh,
word,
yeah,
the
yeah.
mascot. I'm a
Yeah.
sucker for the mascot idea, that concept. Yeah, like Eddie and yeah, Vic Rattlehead, and yeah, like, yeah, all of that. I love that. Yeah, and that was part of it too. That artwork. I think that was, I think you nailed that when you mentioned that earlier. Was um especially with like Iron Maiden. I remember seeing Iron Maiden albums when I was a kid, not knowing what the music was, but I'm like, I have to know what this is.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the
Exactly.
coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, who is
It,
that guy? What's he doing?
hmm
Like, what does that sound like? I need to hear
Yeah.
this.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where it got us, man. And that's why I wanted to go with to bring it full circle. That's why I wanted to go with this,
Yeah.
because it spoke to me. The colors kind of pop out, because you're like, oh, what purple flames? What's that? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
not
and
usual.
obviously that guy's on a mission. Like, you can tell,
Exactly.
like, especially his stance.
Yeah, like, oh, he ain't fucking around.
Yeah. He's not fucking around. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
the people
yeah.
in that castle better watch their asses, because
Exactly,
this dude is
exactly.
coming. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's cool. And it's cool to, I think it's like you said, it goes hand in hand, the metal and the comics, and and that goes way back, like even like proto metal. Like, you look at like Thin Lizzy, with
Hmm.
Jailbreak, that album cover with the comic book art. Um, and what was that, 72, 73?
Oh
Um,
wow. Oh wow.
yeah, and I
I thought, yeah.
remember,
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. And like, I remember, God, I guess I was in high school when Joe Satriani did the Alien album with
Oh yeah.
Silver
Yeah. Yeah.
Surfer.
Silver
And I,
Surfer. Yeah.
yeah, and I just
Yeah.
remember seeing that. I'm like, oh, this guy, he gets me. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's how they get us, and then that's why it stays too, because we think about it.
yeah, yeah.
So that's cool, man. That's
And
cool.
it is amazing. Like, it's funny, like you mentioned that there's been multiple musicians I've talked to, metal musicians I talked to, that are way into comic books. Like, like, well, you look at like Sean Peck of Cage.
Oh,
Um,
uh-huh.
I mean, that dude owns a gazillion dollars worth of comic books. I mean, he's
Yeah.
posted
Oh yeah. No, he's
stuff
no,
about.
he's another level, man. That's. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to ask his top three. You know what I mean? So.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a Marvel guy for sure. So I wouldn't be surprised. I know, well, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but yeah, I've noticed because I follow him, and I noticed he posts a lot of Fantastic Four stuff, and a
Ah,
lot of Doom, a lot of Doctor Doom stuff. So I
it's
would
just,
not
it's
be
just
surprised if that's one of his.
yeah, that's Doctor Doom, man.
Yeah.
It's the guy. It's the best, man.
Yeah.
We can talk all day with this stuff, man.
Yeah. Sorry. No,
No, man. It's
yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
I
I've
love it,
got
man.
some old, I'll have to show you. Sorry. I know we're trying to do an interview here, but I'll show you
All good,
offline. I'll
man.
show you some. I've got some old comics from, yeah, Doctor Doom stuff from like the 60s, mid
Oh
60s.
wow,
Yeah.
nice, man.
Yeah. I'll show you some
Nice.
stuff. So
That's cool.
cool. Well, Mayhem, this has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you tonight. Thank
Likewise,
you
brother.
so much. For those of you watching, as I mentioned before, one, check out Beyond the Heavy, Mayhem's podcast. So look in the description below. There's a link to that. There's also a link to the Burning Legion page. Well, so the Instagram page. You guys got to get on Facebook so I can follow you there.
We
Not,
are, but we got to just put it together.
oh, okay, cool.
We were there. It's just we haven't put the stuff,
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
so links. So definitely follow those links. And yeah, check out their music. The single "I Am Domination" kicks ass. I cannot wait for the new album to come out. It's going to be killer. So yeah, definitely check that out. Thank you so much, Mayhem. This has been awesome chatting with you, my friend.
Likewise, brother. Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.